Good evening, I'm Jo Marie Lanza, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News tonight. A new era in the telecoms landscape. SpeedNet says it's ready, but government has to play by rules, which will mean less bank for BTL. And what's next for the NTUCB? Can Cabinet took the wind out of their sails when they backed off the acquisition? But will they still protest on Tuesday? We'll talk to the president. And what's next for Chairman Mark Lizarraga? The NTUCB wants him gone. Plus, we'll talk to Minister Henry Charles Usher, who would he have voted for or against the acquisition? We asked him today. These stories and more are ahead on 7 News, so please stay tuned.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Belize is growing, and as our nation grows, so does the demand for electricity and new energy solutions. More homes, more businesses, more opportunities. BEL continues to strengthen the system that supports this growth, reinforcing infrastructure and solidifying capacity, preparing for what's ahead, ensuring reliable service for homes, for businesses, and for communities across Belize. Keeping the lights on every single day. Belize Electricity Limited, prepared for growth, prepared for Belize.
Write your story with a vehicle loan from Atlantic Bank. Enjoy competitive interest rates, attractive repayment terms. Also, with every approved loan, you are eligible for a MasterCard credit card. To learn more, visit your nearest Atlantic Bank branch or scan the QR code to apply today, because every journey deserves the right start.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
The roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, insuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
These charter mints aren't from
We're
an
navigating
airplane.
along the coast.
This morning, the 2023.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Cherie Culsel, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight.
We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craft.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
I can remember clearly, and it's deja vu right now, 2005, and everything else started to spiral. The people, the electorate of this country, voted them in.
It will go down in history as the single most turbulent day in Belize's political history.
It is time for us to stand up together and say enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
There is already fissures of a fracture.
Like I said, it's deja vu, 2005. The assets of this country belongs to us. The elected officials are temporary custodians.
The road ahead is fraught with political peril. And for what?
Decisions need to be made in the best interest of the Belizean people.
His party just suffered its worst losses ever. He conceded that the election results had a lot to do with him as leader.
Nothing happens if nothing happens. So let something happen so that something can happen. And currently, that something is the demonstration that is slated for the 18th of August in Belmopan.
Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your Nation Station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, the chairman of the BTL board has written to employees confirming what Cabinet said yesterday. The SpeedNet acquisition, which he endorsed with the zeal of a true believer, is now behind them. In an employee bulletin form Lizarraga issued this afternoon, he concludes warily. The process of how we could have expanded our business through an acquisition is now behind us. We close that chapter and turn our full attention to how we will expand our business through other avenues in an ever-evolving competitive landscape. And indeed, they must turn the page quickly, because in a release issued this morning, their very first since talks of the acquisition started to swirl. SpeedNet talks about, quote, a new competitive landscape. The release also outlines what that means, saying, quote, BTL has held market dominance in Belize for 25 years. And following the government taking ownership in 2009, regulatory practices have heavily favored BTL, putting SpeedNet at a deliberate competitive disadvantage. The release adds, quote, yesterday's cabinet decision will result in BTL facing several mandatory operational, regulatory, and competitive adjustments. The release says accurately, quote, government ministries must put all telecom contracts out to public tender to give SpeedNet fair competitive access. And if they don't, the release says, SpeedNet is prepared to take the government to task on this issue and that the courts are prepared to enforce the mandatory need for tendering. And that means welcome to another round of endless Ashcroft litigation. And SpeedNet will also be after the PUC to ensure that BTL shares telecommunications infrastructure with SpeedNet. And if not, well, go back to the Ashcroft playbook. Expect more lawsuits. SpeedNet says it, quote, will invest heavily in state-of-the-art technologies and the required systems, equipment, and infrastructure to ensure that it provides the best and latest telecommunications services to the people of Belize at affordable prices, end quote. So, bottom line, the Ashcroft Alliance is now going to invest heavily in SpeedNet to kill BTL's profits. A race to the bottom. In its release, BTL's chairman tells employees, we should not underestimate the headwinds we face, but neither should we allow those headwinds to define what BTL can become. And so while there are rugged days ahead for BTL, it sounds like competition to us, and that is always good for new consumers. Both companies acknowledge that the proposed consolidation was hugely unpopular, and so did Cabinet in its release yesterday, when it formally withdrew support for the acquisition. But how did Cabinet arrive at that decision? They were supposed to meet next Tuesday to decide, but sensing a gathering storm on the horizon, the PM seems to have just made a snap decision in an Orange Walk minute. Today, PUP Chairman Henry Charles Usher says he supports the decision, acknowledging that he had reservations about the acquisition.
The decision made by Cabinet yesterday is an informed decision. It's a decision that I support. It's a decision that came out of many consultations with different stakeholders, both individually by Cabinet members reaching out to different stakeholders and collectively. I supported the Prime Minister, and I continue to agree with his position that we had to hear from the different stakeholders as a collective unit. And it was important that we heard from BTL, from SSB, from PUC on the developments since we last heard from them in January or February. And what I can say is that out of these presentations and the questions, the issues that were raised, we were able to reach a consensus yesterday. We had hoped to hear from other stakeholders, but we couldn't work out the logistics of that. But we were able to reach a consensus, and like I said, it's a decision that I support.
What were your personal thoughts on this acquisition, and did you support it?
So from the very beginning, as I had explained to you before, I had my reservations about the proposed acquisition, and that came out of my consultations with the ultimate owners of this of the company, the people of Belize, constituents of Fort George. I had many discussions with them, but also because I had spoken to a number of the stakeholders when it came to the uncertainty in the legislation, uncertainty in the regulation. Of course, you know, much has been said about Section 42.4 of the Telecommunications Act. There was some, uncertainty about how we would move forward if there was only one traditional telecoms company. But also because I know, globally, that the traditional, what they call the terrestrial telecommunication companies are facing an existential threat. And we have to be able to prepare for that. The technology is moving very fast. We have moving away from the tower-based operators to what they call mobile virtual network operators, the MVNOs. And we have to be able to keep up with that technology.
And while they talk about the technological ether on the ground, do NTUCB and the social partners still want their political pound of flesh? They had a big protest planned for next Tuesday, but now that the deal is off the table, will they still go for it? In a Zoom meeting with the NTUCB president this afternoon, she said they are still moving ahead with their plan of action for next Tuesday. The only thing that has changed is that the NTUCB will be making some fresh demands on Tuesday. President Ella Waite told me more without revealing what the demands are.
We'd like the public to know that we are still continuing with the demonstration on Tuesday. Same location, First in Belize City, in front of the BTL headquarters at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and in Belmopan, in front of the administrative building at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We took some time to come up with this decision because we had to go through our usual process, contacting all our presidents and our general counsel to ensure we are still moving forward with this. We're still inviting Belizeans as well. I know everyone is very relieved. I think the word is relieved that the cabinet has decided not to pursue the acquisition, but we have to ensure that we um, change how we go about doing things in this country. We have to ensure that we're not just always acting at a point when it is too close to having a decision made that would negatively impact us, but we try to change the status quo. And I don't want to reveal too much right now, but we'll be asking for some demands on Tuesday, not demands that are not possible, but demands that can ensure that we move forward, especially at BTL, in the right direction.
Waite says that they need to certify the process ahead to ensure that the acquisition is indeed DED and does not find its way onto the bargaining table.
I think, as what your news editor had mentioned before, the deal is dead, and I feel that same way too. But obviously, because BTL did vote to go ahead with the acquisition, I don't know if their internal process would be that they have to go back and meet as a board and either reverse that decision or cancel that decision. I'm not sure of the way that it has to be done, but we have talked to our representative that goes through the SSB at BTL board to ensure that whatever needs to be done is done. So we at least have had that conversation. And if there is a process that needs to be completed, that process needs to be completed and it is informed to the public, just like how I think the chair, sorry, sent a report or a press release or a notice, I should say, to its employees about what had happened, what transpired. The same thing should be done now, and not just to the employees, but to the citizens of this country. He has to report what the process will be next for us to have a full understanding and for us to be very comforted that this would not be on the table at BTL again.
Since that interview, the BTL chairman has sent a bulletin to employees saying the deal is off. There was a period of uncertainty for the unions regarding how the deal would go. But now that cabinet has made its decision, President Waite says they feel relieved. However, moving forward, she feels changes need to be made in BTL's leadership, which clung so steadfastly to an unpopular, possible, unlawful acquisition.
We're very happy that they listened to the voices of the people. We're happy that we were able to strategize with the social partners to ensure that that the cabinet came about with this decision. I think if we did not do anything or did not say anything, we would be in a different position today, and we'd probably be very worried today. So I think the best adjective I can say right now is relieved that we got to this point. As you can imagine, there's a lot of Belizeans, a lot of the members of NTUCB and the social partners are not very comfortable with him continuing to lead the BTL board or the institution. So, but again, I don't want to preempt what we'll be doing on Tuesday, but the conversation is there and the concern is there as well, having him remain as the chair of the BTL board.
And what does Minister Usher feel about BTL chairman Mark Lizarraga? He has had a less than winning round in public spotlight, but Usher said that he does not believe that Lizarraga, the architect of the rejected acquisition, should be removed.
I think that the chairman, like I said, and the management team at BTL has been doing a good job, and we can't overlook that taking the return on equity from 2 to 3% to 8 to 12%, looking at different areas, expanding, diversifying the services being provided by BTL. These are areas that they have to continue to work on. Now, this was one proposal, and they had their reasons for looking into this proposal. And now they have to look at how they can look at other services to continue to move forward. BTL and the CEO of BTL has said very clearly that they're moving away from a telco company, telecommunication, to a techco, a technology-based company. So that is important that they continue to diversify into those other areas. I don't think that he should be asked to go. I think that the consultation, in my view, could have been more, but I don't think that they failed to consult. I'm sure that they did a lot of consultation, but they could have done more. They can always do more. And whenever there are so many concerns, especially when it comes to legislative issues or regulatory issues, I think it's important for those to get clarity before moving forward.
Being that this current chairman, he saw consolidation, the future as consolidation when it was extremely ruggedly competitive, would you say in that instance, then maybe you should be looking for someone else that would have a similar vision moving?
I think, as I said just now, the traditional companies, BTL, SpeedNet, Global, AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever you want to, whichever company you want to use, they're all facing existential threats because of the rapid development of technology. So these companies have to be able to look at different areas to diversify, have to look at how they can continue to have a positive return on equity, return on investment for their shareholders. The people at Belize want to make sure that they continue to benefit from BTL. And so that I think that's important that they continue to do that.
But while diversification is one thing, public consultation is another. The current BTL leadership never consulted with the public, even though they were politically directed to do so. When we spoke with Lizarraga on Tuesday, he said the public was consulted through the PUC, which is what would be called a blatant false equivalency. Well, only 7 submissions were made to the PUC, and the minister said that perhaps that's what the chairman thought was enough.
We know that Mark Lizarraga's comments as well when it came to the PUC, he said that that was enough consultation. When he was speaking to me on Tuesday, he said that that is the means of public consultation. There were only 7 comments that I understand made their way there. Do you think that that was enough?
Well, the PUC has that as part of their modus in terms of whenever any proposal is made, they have to have a period for public to write in, to make their comments known. I think that there were 8. I think they got one more public comment coming in. It was all raising certain uncertainties and reservations about the proposed acquisition. So, it's an opportunity for the public to put in their views. And I think that it's always best to get more, right? I always try to consult as much as I can when it comes to these particular issues. Maybe he felt that that was enough, but I certainly think that it's important that everybody who had a view should have been able to put in that view.
But when one of the biggest players in this acquisition, Michael Ashcroft, spoke with the Social Security Board of Directors, he made it sound as if he was doing BTL a favor by offering them a chance to buy SpeedNet, as if it was some form of charity, which is why he was not open to negotiation and had an interest in an independent valuation. Usher says nothing Ashcroft does is ever charity.
When Lord Ashcroft met with Social Security Board, he framed the offer of the sale almost as a charity, as he framed it as within a threat, and he said that basically he's doing us a favor. That's what he made it sound like. And so what were your thoughts on that?
Well, that gentleman does not get into any business transaction for charity. He gets into business transactions to make a profit, and he does whatever is in his power and in his group's power to maximize that profit. So I would not describe any business deal or any transaction that he has ever proposed as charitable.
But the question remains, was this all even necessary? 7 News first reported on the talks of an acquisition in June of 2025. And for months, the Prime Minister danced away from discussing the deal, which stood to benefit his family. He says that there were certain processes that had to take place before we got to where we are now.
Well, I think sometimes you have to give the fiduciary persons on board the opportunity to get the information, be able to be informed. And, you have to allow that process to be to be done. And I think that sometimes the media, Channel 7 is one of the media houses that whenever they get information, they want answers right away. And I think sometimes you have to allow the process to go through before that answer is given. An informed decision is a better decision, Jaliza, and I always maintain that.
Do you think that due process was taken, given now that we factored in the relation to our prime minister with these companies? We factored in the union stats, we factored in everyone's stats. So do you think that was the due process that needed us to get to this decision now?
That's a question that can best be answered by the board in terms of their process in looking at due process. I wouldn't be able to answer for them. What I can say is that Cabinet wanted to have these presentations to be able to be informed of the issues, to be able to ask the questions, and to be able to raise the concerns that we were hearing in the public. And we got that opportunity with some of the stakeholders collectively. I certainly made sure that I did my consultation with as many persons as possible, as many groups as possible, so that I could be better informed. And so that's what guided us in the decision that was made yesterday.
Do you believe that the Prime Minister should have recused himself from the beginning, being that he has the relation to the owner?
Well, whenever this issue came up, the Prime Minister offered to recuse himself. And, that's the right thing to do.
But it's the Prime Minister who planned to lead the meeting with the social partners on Thursday. That meeting never happened, but at the last minute on Wednesday night, the Chamber appeared to have broken ranks with the social partners and said it was ready and even eager to meet with Cabinet before Tuesday. When I asked Waite about this, she says there was no way they would have been able to meet because the Chamber reps were not in country.
We did agree that we would not meet with the Cabinet on Thursday. Well, that was yesterday. We would not, simply because the BCCI was not in the country. Their president and CEO was not in the country. But that was before we had finished the coalition with the other social partners. So that was a decision BCCI and NTUCB had made. The Cabinet did not respond back to us when we asked for a postponement to next week. So that was left at that point. Then the coalition fully formed, and the other members from BNN and the churches insisted that they would also want to be a part of that group that would attend a meeting with the Cabinet. And we agree. We are there as a block. We should attend as a block. And however, again, no other further invitation came along. So I don't think the BCCI would have gone without us. That was not the plan. And I think they would have stayed with the plan.
We take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk to the wife of a man who was allegedly shot by police and then dragged through the court with a shattered leg. He's remanded tonight. We spoke to his wife. Don't go away.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Stay connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing *100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
Enhanced service and faster sickness benefit claim processing are at your fingertips with SSB's healthcare feature, accessible via the My Social Security self-service portal. Your convenience during illness is key. Now your doctor can certify your period of illness, and your employer can confirm your employment details digitally, eliminating the need to visit our office. But wait, it gets better. You can also review the medical certificate provided by your doctor in your My Social Security account, along with real-time processing updates, keeping you informed. To ensure a smooth process, always review your electronic medical certificate before you hit submit. Upon submission, your employer is notified via email of your claim submitted to SSB and must respond within 48 hours for your claim to be automatically processed. For more information, check out our guides on our website and YouTube pages. Social Security at your fingertips.
Drop it like it's hot.
Write your story with a home loan from Atlantic Bank. Enjoy competitive interest rates, attractive repayment terms. Also, with every approved loan, you are eligible for a MasterCard credit card. To learn more, visit your nearest Atlantic Bank branch or scan the QR code to apply today. Home is where your story unfolds every day.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your nation station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
The world is watching. The stakes are high. And with an Atlantic Bank credit card, your moments start online.
Bro, the tickets just dropped. I have my credit card ready. So how many tickets, guys?
We'll take two.
1, 2.
I want 3.
Go further, experience more. Make your online purchases seamless, secure, and in real time.
All right, let's buy the tickets now. What did you do, bro? I need to enter a password.
Oh, Atlantic Bank's credit card has a 3D secure feature to protect your online shopping.
Check your email.
Some transactions require an additional layer of security. 3D Secure adds an extra verification step. An OTP is sent to ensure it is you authorizing payment.
Guys, we got the ticket!
Yes! Your online transactions made with Atlantic Bank credit cards are fast, safe, and verified.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
It's nothing about censorship. I don't know how you can come to that. I think the big thing about the broadcasting authority is that now all of these online media people, blogs or whatever, that are taking advertisements and everything, also they have to be held to the same standards that you are being held. You all are at a disadvantage competing with these bloggers. These bloggers go online and they have something and just put it out there without even checking whether it is so or not so, and all that kind of thing, and then they're collecting revenues. They're providing a kind of like a service to the public, and they need to be held to the same journalistic standards that you at Love and Creme, Channel 7, Channel 5 are being held to. And that's the main part of it. Technology has changed, so we can't continue using the same legislation that was addressing a technology of the 1990s. So we have to keep up with that. So it has absolutely nothing to do with censorship.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Stay connected in the USA for as low as $10. With Smart Roaming Data Pass, staying connected is simple and affordable. Get the data you need starting at 1,000 megabytes to stay connected to larger plans that keep you online while you travel across the USA. So you can message, browse, video call, and navigate wherever you go. No SIM swap, no bill shock. Just simple, affordable pricing. Activate easily by dialing star 100# using the Smart app or online. Smart Roaming Data Pass. Staying connected the smart way. Smart, bringing people together.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Brandon Hughes and Jose Gomez, the men accused of killing 70-year-old businessman Oscar Rosado Sr. back in April of 2018, will remain in prison after their appeal case was dismissed by the Court of Appeal. They were convicted of the murder on December 9, 2022, and Hughes was sentenced to life imprisonment. His accomplice, Gomez, was sentenced to 12 years in prison in the Court of Appeal. Their attorneys, Orson Ellerington and David McCoy, argued that the judgment should have been set aside on the grounds that the judge's failure to provide written reasons for her decision added to a miscarriage of justice. Ellerington, on behalf of Hughes, also argued the judge imposed an excessive and disproportionate sentence. However, the appeal was dismissed, and the men must serve the sentences handed down to them. Rosado's son called this a massive win for his family.
Well, what can I say right now? It's normal to feel complex and intense emotions right now. I'm full of, emotions. I can say this is a massive victory for the legal system in our country. I'm so happy that they upheld this verdict. My family and I are so thankful. I never gave up. God, every morning I pray. From the day my dad died, I prayed like everybody pray for justice. And the only person that could have given justice is our God. And God has illuminated into these legal judges who heard this appeal. And there's no way I was there after my dad was shot. I came out. The gun was put to my head. I would never forget this person. I still can picture him right now. And so I'm glad he needs to serve his time, all of them who assisted in this. What I can say right now to those criminals, give thanks to God that you are alive. I wish my dad was alive today. That's all I wished for. He did not get a court hearing where he could decide if he wanted to be alive or not. Those criminals sentenced him to death. And so their conviction of jail time is nothing compared to what me and my family is going through.
A former BDF soldier is on remand after he was allegedly shot by 3 police officers in Pomona Village. 46-year-old Richard Cal was on his farm on August 6th when the officers, dressed in plain clothes, ran towards him. Startled Cal fired a warning shot, which led the officers to respond with 7 shots, hitting him in the right leg and also killing one of his dogs. He was treated at the KHMH and released. However, 2 days later, uninformed officers came back to his home and arrested him for 3 counts of aggravated assault. He was arraigned this evening and remanded to prison as magistrates cannot give bail for gun offenses. His wife says she now worries for his physical well-being since he is seriously injured and there is no one to properly take care of him. She's now calling for justice for her family. She spoke to us via phone, choosing to remain anonymous.
While he was resting at home, they come arrest him. Arrest him for the 3 count of aggravated assault. That is Tuesday. They have my husband up and down. And then Thursday now, which is yesterday, again, they come from him again. Take him again to Dangriga station. From there, we are there whole day. He's not resting. His foot is hurting him. He is in pain. He is in critical condition right now. He cannot move on his own. He struggled. The doctor yesterday, when we went to the doctor, because his foot is getting blue yesterday, so they end up to take him to the hospital. The doctor write it on a paper that he cannot elevate his foot. But yet, there's no mercy on that. Again, today he get arraigned and he get remanded. They took him to prison today. They took him. They did not put him in our proper way. They put him at the back of the vehicle. It's right there in a hot sun. The place is hot. His feet, he cannot stretch his feet. It's really rough on him. Now I'm fearing right now. Who will be there beside him? Who will take care of him? Who will give him his medication? Who will dress his foot? No, all of that is my worry right now. That is my concern. Because what the police officer are doing is really wrong. It is not my husband went to those 3 guys' farm. It is them that went and looked for my husband while my husband is working there alone. He is there alone. And yet, they are still making it seem like it is my husband is at fault, which I really don't like. I want justice. I have 2 boys. The first one wanted to go to university and to study in medicine. Get his bachelor in medicine. No, he cannot do that. He have to work. He used the last penny. He gave his dad, he paid the doctor to do his surgery. The same thing with the next one. He was about to finish his associate. Now, the study has been failed. Because of what? Because of what these 3 men do to my husband.
A 27-year-old Belize City woman has been charged with attempted murder following an alleged confrontation with her former boyfriend in Keecocker. Police say 33-year-old businessman Aaron Gentle reported that on Sunday evening, he met his former girlfriend, Courtney Bowman, at a pier near his home after she contacted him to discuss their relationship. According to Gentle, while he was on his jet ski and Bowman was on the pier, an altercation developed. He tried to leave on the jet ski and Bowman allegedly jumped onto it and stabbed him. Gentle sustained injuries classified by a doctor as wounding, and he was later transported to the KHMH for further treatment. Bowman was detained on Wednesday and subsequently charged with attempted murder, use of deadly means of harm, and wounding. Turning back now to the PUP chairman, we asked him to reflect on the Corozal Municipal Convention over the past weekend, where 3-term Mayor Rigo Veos was victorious. In his victory speech, he said that the convention was unnecessary. We asked the chairman his thoughts, as many political observers were under the impression that the three-time mayor being challenged by a newcomer was disrespectful.
I think that the democratic process is always a process that can be divisive. The passions are raised, but it's always important as a party, as a democratic party, to go through that. And so I don't have any problem with conventions. I think that it's important that the people decide who they want to represent them, who they want to lead them going into the municipal election next March. And I am sure that the mandate that Rigo has gotten and his team has gotten is more strengthened now because so many persons came out to support them. As you said, 3,425 persons came out in Corozal Town to support the candidate of their choice. Both teams were very good. They had excellent leaders, they had excellent members of their team, and they were able to bring out that support. The people decided who they want. They supported Mr. Rigo Veas, receiving 1,799 votes. Ms. Shahari Rajas, again, congratulations to her, getting 1,125 votes. But this is the way that the party decides going forward. The people make that choice in terms of who they want to represent them.
I know we've asked you this numerous times, but being that Rigo is a three-term mayor now looking to go towards his fourth, do you really think that it was right or necessary for a newcomer to challenge you?
I think that even Rigo would say that he feels vindicated. He feels vindicated because the people came out to support him. And as I said, I think that his mandate is even stronger. His support is there, and the party will come together to support him so that he can be a fourth-time mayor.
And now that the Corozal Convention is over, the next major one is in the Belize City Municipal Convention, where Alan Pollard Jr. and Eliud Miller will contest the mayoral nomination. But no convention is without its controversies, and this one has plenty. A report emerged online that one long-standing delegate was removed from the list, with accusations that it was because of who she was supporting. And it just happened to be in the Fort George constituency, that of Henry Charles Usher. When we asked him about it, he said that it is nothing personal, and they are making room for others to be able to vote too.
You know, whenever there's a delegate convention, this always is an issue. There are only a certain number of delegates that each constituency has, and so not everyone in the constituency is able to be a delegate. In the case of the person that you're talking about, I think that what was decided was that we would try to expand the delegate in terms of using different people. We want to make sure that as many persons as possible from different parts of the constituency get an opportunity to cast their vote, and that is what participatory democracy is all about. We're not able to get everyone on the delegate list. Many of the long-standing members of the committee, for instance, are not delegates in this particular convention, because, as I said, we are trying to diversify that group, give new persons an opportunity to be able to have their say. And, I think that after the convention is over, there's always a period of healing, and we'll go through that.
You confirm that you have nothing to do with that delegates list in terms of choosing who is exactly on it. It's a committee that decides.
Yeah, it's always a committee in every constituency. It's actually the chairman of that constituency that signs off on the list. The delegate list was submitted last week, Friday, and no changes can be made after it's submitted. So nobody can be taken off a list after it's submitted on Friday.
And we know that money is the machine that keeps elections moving. And within that, we asked the minister what he thought about the Bacon House relocated in Corozal Town on Sunday. But more than that, we spoke with him about the purchasing power of a vote. These were his thoughts.
Well, I think that I can't say for sure what you found or who you spoke to, especially speaking like that. But it's a convention and people are out there working. You have a lot of workers, you have expenses, you have people that have to be coming in from different parts of the town to vote. And I think that, it's important that we understand that it is a democratic process and people come out to support the candidates of their choice. I certainly can't comment on an alleged from an anonymous source. That is too much now.
What do you make of the claim of vote purchasing?
I think that it's something that unless you have the evidence, if you're just standing out there, I can't comment on what happens on the day. My job is to make sure that the convention is run in a fair way, that everybody gets a chance to vote, that all the candidates are out there, that they can campaign to their people outside of the polling area. And once inside, the people can make up their mind.
Looking at it from an objective standpoint, not looking at any colors, when it comes to vote purchasing and buying over votes, what's your perspective on that?
Well, it's very clear when it comes to election day, that practice should not be happening. It's against the regulations, against the RUPA, so it should not be happening.
The PUP has many conventions to go this cycle. What do you think of the corrupting influence of money that it can have sometimes?
This sounds like a question from your news director. You have to be able to have the resources to carry out a campaign. That's simple. On election day, you need resources for logistics. You need to have persons working for you. You need to be able to feed those persons. You need to be able to transport the persons that are going to be voting at the polling stations. And so, yes, you need the resources. You need to be able to do this. You need to be able to pay for your campaign ads. If you have billboards, if you have ads in newspapers on Channel 7, Channel 7 is one of the most expensive stations when it comes to running ads. So you need that finance to be able to do that. So yes, in a political campaign, money is important, but the people still get to make up their mind, and that's what a democracy is all about.
We take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at the history of SpeedNet Communications Limited, how it went from Ashcroft's pet project to BPL's soon-to-be nemesis. Plus, we'll talk to the Free Zone Minister about his big changes at the CFZ because of U.S. security concerns. Stay tuned.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your Nation Station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
The tale of two telecommunications companies began in 2004 with a political betrayal. The family of the then Deputy Prime Minister John Briceño orchestrated a secret interconnection deal between BTL and SpeedNet, or at least it was a secret to the then Prime Minister Said Musa. Fast forward to today, and almost everything about the genesis of development of SpeedNet is out in the open. But in the last 2 decades, there have been many plot twists in this story. Courtney Menzies went into the archives to take a look back at some of the history between BTL and SpeedNet, who have gone from co-managed, co-owned entities to competitors battling to the death. And in the depths before Starlink arrives in Belize and changes everything.
In 2004, the unthinkable occurred. The family of the then Deputy Prime Minister John Briceño, without the knowledge of Prime Minister Said Musa, secretly struck an interconnection deal with the Ashcroft Alliance, the then majority owner of BTL. It happened on the cusp of the ill-fated sale of BTL to Jeffrey Prosser's innovative communications company, which thought it was buying a monopoly. At that time, it was a massive shock to Briceño's own Prime Minister.
7 News is in possession of documents which show that BTL and its competitor SpeedNet, which is nominally owned by first cousins of Deputy Prime Minister John Briceño, have struck a deal to work together. It's a highly unusual arrangement for two companies that are supposed to be competitors, but it's certainly not a crime. But to ICC and the Finance Ministry, it's more than a crime. It's very nearly treason, because the deal was secretly orchestrated, apparently to undermine the pending sale of BTL to Innovative Communications Company, ICC.
5 years later, in the House of Representatives, Dean Bauer revealed that the Briceño family had become minority shareholders in SpeedNet after transferring a chunk of their shares to companies owned by the Ashcroft Alliance.
I knew from then company's headquarters there had to belong to him. But it wasn't until later that I found out about the trusts. And in the meantime, you see, that 55% has been increased to 77.38% because on 13th of January 2009, Jaime Briceño transferred 58 of his shares to a new Ashcroft company, Hiva Holdings Limited of number 4 Cork Street, Belize City, for a consideration of $6,090,000. On the same date, Renan Briceño transferred 17 of his shares to the same Hiva Holdings Limited for a consideration of Belize $1,785,000. You say I should have taken you into my confidence? How could I? Your family, don't say you, are minority shareholders in SpeedNet, which is owned by the Ashcroft. You work for SpeedNet? No, I mean your family. Sorry, they work for Ashcroft?
It was managed competition orchestrated by the Ashcroft Alliance, a secret arrangement until then, which led ultimately to the nationalization of BTL in August of 2009. Fast forward 17 years, and once again it was BTL and SpeedNet on the verge of another deal, this time an acquisition, 22 years after they started up as a pseudo-competitor of BTL. Reports of the merger began circulating over a year ago, which we broke on the Monday Morning Beef.
There are discussions for those cable companies to be bought over by BTL, which had started years ago. Smart may also be bundled in there, right? Smart, the phone company, which again the Briceño family has an interest in. But I have to flag it now because the Briceño family has a vested interest. But if such a sale would happen, the Briceño business empire, all respect to it, would gain substantially because it's both the cable company and the phone company. We're talking tens of millions of dollars. So there are multiple conflicts of interest or related party issues here. And it'll be very interesting to see if something like this is broached. It would be, forgive me, in my mind, scandalous.
But whenever we asked the PM, even though his family was directly involved, he denied knowing about those reports. Sir, can you talk about this rumored sale of Smart to BTL? Is that the rumored sale of Smart to BTL, is that going through?
I don't know. You'll have to talk to people at BTL and the people at Smart.
You are the
As you look it over, one has to ask, are you looking it over as a future parent company or the owner of your family-owned business, SpeedNet? Is that deal still live?
I think you need to talk to other people about that. I would not comment on that. I have nothing to do with that. And maybe you need to talk to Jaime. His number.
Is there a timeline for the BTL acquisition of SpeedNet?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the people at BTL.
Sir, but what would be the public explanation given, considering that it is sort of a conflict of interest with BTL and SpeedNet being owned by your family members?
So then why do you ask me that question? You feel that there's a conflict of interest. I have said already that I'm not involved with it. And if you want to know from the personal or from the business side of from my family, you need to go and speak to them. Don't speak to me about it. I'm saying it very respectfully. That has not come to us yet. I think that they're doing their, if anything's happening, they're doing their negotiations. And when that happens, when they have that negotiations are done, they report to us. As I said, whatever decisions BTL would do, it has to be in the best interest of Belize. That's of the company and Belize.
Confirmation of the proposed deal came on February 6th of this year, when the Minister of Public Utilities announced a pause.
The Prime Minister has instructed that there be a pause in discussions related to this matter. This pause is intended to allow the parties involved to further engage the public in a genuine, open, and cordial way, and to ensure that the proper regulatory process is followed.
6 months later, after the deal was brought back to the table, and after threats of protest from the combined forces of the four social partners and the opposition, Cabinet has finally announced that it does not approve of the acquisition. If we follow Smart's trajectory from a telecoms operator interconnected in secrecy, merge into a managed competition partner, and now, after a failed bid at consolidation, morphs into the ruthless competitor of the company it once sought to be co-managed by. Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
The Corozal Free Zone. It's been on the cabinet carousel. It's gone from Minister Mai to Mira to Usher in less than a year. And it's been going through changes recently, putting the clamps on smuggling in a place that's smuggler's paradise. What's driving this? Well, largely U.S. security concerns about border security, which continues to be one of the Trump administration's top priorities, along with countering narco-trafficking. We asked Usher about it today.
As Minister of Enterprise, we have received multiple reliable reports that the U.S. government state actors are keeping a very close eye on the free zone. An embassy rep told us today that the Corozal Free Zone, quote, as you know, that is one of the places most concerning in Belize. Are you aware of this U.S. interest and what changes have been made to implement in the free zone?
So certainly it's something that I am aware of. I mean, I think all the ministers that held this portfolio, the Prime Minister as well, Cabinet, is informed of that position that you just brought up in terms of making sure that there's nothing illegal happening in there, that we continue to have regular patrols in the zone, outside the zone, to make sure that there are no illegal activities happening. So that is something that we continue to do, and we have to make sure that we work with our partners. We work with our partners from the US, we work with our partners from Mexico to make sure that this continues to be the case.
Do you think that it was challenging being the ministries you already hold?
It's always a challenge to take on a new portfolio, but it's a responsibility that I hold very high, because I make sure that I give it the best that I can, whatever portfolio the Prime Minister assigns to me. And he said it was for a temporary basis, so we'll see how temporary it is.
All right, we have received reliable reports that traffic out of the zone is no longer being allowed to cross by the river, only in vans by road across the Chactamal border point. Since most of the smuggled material was moved via the river, can you discuss this change?
Well, like I said, we continue to have regular patrols. We continue to make sure that no illegal activities are happening, and that will always continue. And again, in partnership with the U.S., with Mexico, with the persons running the zone. We have to remember that the free zone, and I said this before, the free zone is an important economic area for the country, especially for the north. You have 3,000 persons, more or less, working in the zone, 333 businesses that are operating in the zone. It is an area of economic opportunity. It is an important area for business, and we have to make sure that we continue to invest in the zone, meaning that you have other opportunities for investors to come in and be able to offer different services, different products, etc. Maybe some light manufacturing. That's something that we want to move towards in the zone. It's an area that I certainly think that can be positive. But we have to make sure to keep those illegal actors out, keep the illegal activities out, and to work with our partners to make sure that's the case.
But keeping illegal activities out of the free zone can be a lot like running from the darkness in the night. We asked Usher about juggling the real and the ideal of the free zone.
Working in the free zone, in a sense, is finding a practical way to manage a lawless situation where the products are smuggled into other countries and that product is paid for mostly in cash. How do you view this as a public administration challenge?
You know, as I said, it's an important economic area for the North and for the country, and we have to make sure that it remains productive. We have to make sure that those jobs are protected, that those businesses have an opportunity to sell their products, to be able to provide the services that they are providing, and to look at different areas, to diversify in terms of the areas that the persons in the zone, the businesses, the investors in the zone can look at. And that is what we have to make sure. The enterprise portfolio is more regulatory. It's more to make sure that everything is in compliance. We have a free zone board that looks into the day-to-day operations of the zone, and we have a CEO of the Corozal Free Zone that makes sure that those operations are carried out. So we work in conjunction with them, and we make sure that whatever regulation, compliance is needed to be done.
The U.S. says that it is concerned about narco trafficking in the zone, and of course, border security continues to be one of the administration's top priorities. Is fentanyl or any other chemical precursors coming from China in those tobacco shipments that are being smuggled to the zone?
Well, if you have no evidence of that, there's no way I would be able to answer that question. But again, we work with our partners in Mexico, USA, to make sure that no illegal actors, no illegal activities.
And finally tonight, as we close the chapter on the whole SpeedNet acquisition fiasco, we take a few words from Dickie Bradley, who appeared on the Creme Wake Up Belize morning show today, and said that with the deal dead, Belizeans should be celebrating today.
We should be dancing in the street. This morning should be for dancing, and later this evening, as the sun sets, should be for romancing. This is a day to celebrate because it represents a victory for the people of Belize. It represents a victory for people power. It represents a victory that when the majority of the citizens of the country, from the well-educated to the so-called ordinary man and woman in the street, the unions, to a limited extent the churches, the social partners, maybe I shouldn't say this, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but the four senators that did an unprecedented matter of one, publicly joining forces, and two, 3 out of 4 of them walked out of a Senate meeting. The behavior of the board for the BTL, they should be asked by the Prime Minister to submit their resignation. They have been disdainful and arrogant towards the views of the people of Belize. Never mind, they look down upon we and say that we confused, we don't know what they talk about, we just listen to the noise in the marketplace, and so on. But this is a day for rejoicing. It is also a day for us to do some sober reflection and to see how we can take it from here. We need to be very careful. We can't get drunk with a little victory. Julius Espat, man, big respect to him.
Respect,
The man will
bro.
say, the owners of BTL are the people of the country.
Indeed, indeed.
The people in BTL think that they want it.
Yeah.
And they answer only to Ashcroft and only to social security.
Yes. They kept saying that this is a private company.
A private public company.
How you get there? Yeah.
In other words, then a fish and then a fowl.
Yeah.
The people of Belize own BTL. We were conned out of almost $600 million by the UDP administration to pay Mr. Ashcroft for something which was calculated to value only over $300 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
The PUP came into office and said nothing about how that money gone and how it pay and where it come from. Which law firm get the big slice of legal fees, if any, came out of that?
Big question.
So people of Belize, today, you want a victory. You want a victory because you smell the rat. Because from the get-go when they announced that they want to buy this a cable company, that the cable, where did they buy that for?
And that's all we have for you on 7 News on this Friday night. Thanks for watching. I am Jo Marie Lanza. You can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook or YouTube page. Have a good night and a great weekend. And Indira Craig will be back here on Monday.